Everybody I say, you have the talent, for the drama. Why you don't go and audition up at Edna? And so first me I hear about Edna. So I know, like me plan for go Edna and become the dramatist. Maja comes from Majaliwa, which means filled with God's grace, So they started to call me back by saying Maja Bless. You understand? So it was them hailing me back. And then I said, well, this sound good together, Maja Bless, and bless actually means something positive here, So I say, all right, that's my name. Because first it was Bounty Ras. Yeah, what? No, me not big up to where the poor now. We were being led astray. Even a lady who held on to my hand when I was walking behind some of the gangsters at the time. And she just hold on to me and she say, you too? People, the real things, real curtain call from floor to ceiling, ay. Real people, the real things. Sabrina the queen, then Damien the king. This is Maja Bless, live on curtain call. And if this is the program you don't know, it's a certain fall.
Omaall Wright, known artistically as Majah Bless, is a songwriter, recording artist, poet, scriptwriter, educator, dub poetry performer, and the list goes on and on and on. Of late, he's also known as the father manager of the dynamically talented duo, the Supertwinz. A graduate of Edna Manley College, where he studied drama and education, he began his relationship with the art from about age 3, when he was put on top of a crate to DJ on a musical sound system microphone in Denham Town, where he grew up. Since that day, he has been married to word, sound, and power, delivered in his music, his plays,
films,
and all his creations. Omaall's achievements are many, having won multiple awards in JCDC's speech, drama, and festival song competitions. In December 2014, Maja Bless performed in Tel Aviv, Israel, as the first live performance outside of their regular sound system series, Turned Up, one of his many international performances. I remember vividly the first time I saw Omaall on stage, no shirt, doing reflections in red by Onuro at the national finals for speech and drama. We were both 12 years old. And he began that year the tradition of beating me every year in the dub poetry category. Omaall, my friend from Wayne.
Yes.
I'm happy to have you here with us on Curtain Call.
It is a pleasure, truly an honor to be here, Give thanks.
Yes. Sir Bless, make I tell you, we have wanted to interview you before this show concept come up. Because we have been around you and we felt like you are a star and always shining. So we're glad you're up on Curtain Call.
Give thanks.
In
Maximum
front of the
respect.
curtain.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. What impact do you think Denham Town has had on your creative works?
Well, they say art imitates life. So with my life experiences, definitely, it comes out in my art form. So you realize that my poetry, the plays that I write, has a lot of pain, suffering, overcoming the struggling, because that's what I've been seeing, That's what we grew up to see in Denham Town. So in that way, it definitely has impacted me and showed me how to be resilient, showed me how to be strong, Never give up, Never let the address block your success. That's what Denham Town has showed me.
Wow.
And you have a song and a whole music video around, well, an earlier one, Never Let Your Success, your address block. And I have a t-shirt with that as well.
Definitely.
So growing up in Denham Town, let's go back there. We know about the sound system and the 3-year-old. Weren't you scared, like from 3 to be holding the mic and holding people's attention? And
I wasn't scared. I would say at that time I was even more braver than now.
Where you get the lyrics from?
All right, so the lyrics was simple at the time,
Hey,
but
diggle,
it
diggle.
was, yeah,
No,
you
no,
see
can't
me, you see me, and I'm in the easy, and them type of vibe there. But guess what? You know, because my mother, she's a poet, so I think I got the fervor for words from her. And then my father, even though him don't see it as a profession, him used to chant in the house, and he used to own some big tape deck that he used to record me and him voice. I remember, yeah man, growing up, we lost those in a fire because I moved to Raytown and then we had a fire and we lost a lot of cassette. But I used to listen back those cassettes and I could hear my voice behind him when he's chanting. Even him Dennis Brown songs and thing, I'm there in the background and I chant and him just record it.
So you're a backup singer from long time.
Long time, man, So that gave me the practice and the confidence to know that anytime them give me the mic in my hand, me just go out and do it,
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So you had a lot of practice with microphone, literal microphone, but for me, you create a microphone experience even when there is no mic. So I can remember, I guess about 97, 98, because I was in sixth form at the time. And we were all gathered outside a war theater. This is when speech finals used to keep at war theater. And I'm passing by a sixth form and everybody just gather around and I realize it's you making up stuff on the spot, no mic, and just having people in awe. That's just been you, making up stuff on the fly. How do you do that?
So you see,
the rhyme and they make sense.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
B, C, D, E, F, G.
Sure, and it goes back to the practice again, Anything you practice, you're going to become good at it. So when my parents used to send me out, anything that I'm seeing on the road, I try to rhyme it, If I pass like stop sign or I see some persons over there, I'm creating rhymes in my head. So people will see me staring at them, I'm just creating rhymes, you understand? And it still lives with me till this day. Because I'm a person, I'll drive alone in the night from Kingston to Negril. And that's how I pass the time, just by creating rhymes along the way, So that has given me the
So when
practice.
you get the list, the shop list, you probably made a whole dub.
Whole dub. It used to get so bad that sometimes, I'm just lost.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm just out there and just creating, and I'm just fascinated by arts in general. So if somebody's painting something on the wall, if somebody's building something, I would stand and watch,
Wow.
And then maybe go back in and get beaten because without too long. Yeah,
Wow.
So they go buy flour, yeah, watch cement get mixed.
Watch.
I mean, Sabrina said it in the speech earlier, in her opening rather, that you wear a number of hats. And I don't even know if Curtain Call will be able to pick out so many of those things, but one of the things you are, in my estimation, not only a local star, but a YouTube star. And a lot of persons don't know that Omaall Majah Bless Wright is the writer of many of the poems that they hear on YouTube. Or
festival.
Yeah, or in the festival. I've heard a poem or a dub done by you, Ambition.
Yes.
Ambition by Unknown.
Yes.
He's not unknown. Tell us, how did some of those writings get out in the open and how you deal with that?
Well, by working in the schools, first of all, you will teach it to students, then students go home, teach it to family members, and then it spreads from there. Because I've been at places, competition, and see people enter the works as their own.
Whoa.
Yeah, man, lots of places, man. I remember courts at a competition. I remember where they keep Sting back then.
Jamworld.
Yeah, they had a competition over there, and I'm in the audience, and persons on stage performing my items, and they're saying that it is their own,
Wow.
So sometimes...
Do you ever own it up?
No, man. I want to tell you, it is so bad that even one time I entered a competition myself. I was a youth at the time,
I think I know this story.
Yeah, man. And so you see, it's like they had all the names and they put them in a hat. So like this week, they would pick a set of performers. So my name wasn't picked at that time, you know, my name was picked after, like the second week, you know. So the second week I went there and I performed a poem, and the judges stopped me on the stage, you know, and said, we heard that poem last week, you know, and the whole audience thought and probably still think that, you know, I stole somebody else's work, you know, because they didn't allow me to explain to anybody. And the competition stipulates that you have to write your own poem, you know. So the person went on radio, went in the newspaper, you know, but that was my works, you know.
How is it that recurrence? Because I do remember that incident.
Yeah.
It's about almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, man. True.
And it has happened so many times since. Why has it not discouraged Omaall from sharing his work? Because you keep teaching it
freely.
Yeah, man, because this is something that I love, you know. So a lot of times people link me and I write stuff that I don't even remember that I wrote. The other day, a young lady linked me and she was asking me about a poem that I wrote on depression, you know. So there are times when I just write things on paper, give it to somebody, never look back on that again, because I just love the works out there. I just love to share the works, you know. So that is what keeps me going, you know, because we are contribute to the culture.
So you're just peppering the creative spaces with works that, as you say, sometimes it come back to you and say, well, this kind of sounds familiar, but you don't contest whether or not it is your work, because that's not what you're about.
No, man, because I see my role as, you know, continuing the culture.
Yeah. Speaking of continuing the culture, you've been in the culture for a very long time. 3-year-old, and you're now 1,000.
Yeah.
You've done festival songs. You've done drama competitions, both as teacher and performer. You've entered speech competitions locally and internationally, and you've published. Maja, is there anything you haven't done? Oh, hold on.
He made films.
He made films.
And I remember years ago, Omaall made a film. This is before everybody can buy or access phone.
Digital cameras, yes.
And he wanted to create like a smoke effect with, you know, and my man literally light something now on pan.
Yeah, a cheese pan.
A cheese pan.
And that's the smoke,
and
you know?
that was the smoke to give the
that's
effect.
part of the Denham Town experience that you spoke of again, you know. We learn to turn and make fashion, you know, use a little and make it a lot. Even back then, we didn't have boom. So, you know, I just took down my curtain rods, you know, taped the microphone on it, and that was the boom, you know. We didn't have lights, so I had a motorcycle at the time. So for those night shots, turn on my motorcycle, you know, have it in neutral, and then we get the light that we need.
So you said you write things for others and others perform your work.
Yes.
But I have also seen where you, and I don't want to use that term, so I won't use that term, but I've seen where you have been able to influence positively people, not with your works, but people want to be a part of Maja's productions.
Yeah, man, definitely.
How do you manage to get all some man on the corner, some gangster man?
No, for real, you know, it's just, so when you have confidence in yourself, because the whole thing starts with confidence in you, man.
Guy, right?
Yeah, man, definitely. So when I look back on Real Ghetto Youth, and at the time, you know, you have persons in it who were...
Real Ghetto Youth being one of the earlier films that
one of the earlier films.
How many, it was a...
Part two, 1 and 2?
Three. There are three.
Yeah.
Three out there.
A trilogy.
You know? Yeah, man.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Seal the Trinity with it, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes,
but when I look back on that film, you know, we can say this on the camera, you know, it has dance, you know, bad boy, you know, people who you think wouldn't be interested in the arts, you know? But I got them to play the role and to perform and present.
So they were actual dance playing dance.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Another
role, so. You know, but as I said, you see, when I believe in myself, you know, with that confidence, and you make a step, because they've never seen me make any movie before.
Right.
But
you understand? But yeah, they have to believe in me, you know, because I believe in myself, you know.
And you believe that they can carry it off too, that there's art within them.
Yeah, man, definitely, because this is something that I've always been doing, you know. When you're a teacher, and I didn't run a drama club at the time, so most of the talent I'm taking it from the classes that I teach, you know. and I would bring them to JCDC Speech Festival. Sometimes, you know, you don't see the talent right away, but I know to motivate them, and I just believe that anybody can do it.
Wow.
You know? So even on the streets, when I see them, you know, I can motivate them and make them know, say, yeah, man, you can play this role, you can do that. And then after they see themselves as a person that can do it.
Talk to us. You mentioned teaching a while ago, but one of your earlier experiences was also with area youth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is where I think Sabrina and you have another overlap, because you have a rivalry in high school.
A friendly rivalry.
Yeah,
It was that intense. It was intense.
You know,
but I never beat Omaall, not 1 year.
Trust me, I've always respected and rated Sabrina, man. Believe me.
Yeah.
Wonderful young lady from such time and growing up to be a wonderful woman. So
see, your curtain call is coming.
Oh, dear
yeah,
God.
man, definitely. So it couldn't have been any rivalry, you know?
Yeah.
I was just impressed by this young lady.
And then years later, you and her were on a...
I went to drama school 1 year after him. So I think that's where the speaking...
So you've been following him?
Yes.
Nice. Following in greatness, yes.
And then I did, I think about a 4-month stint with Area Youth for their UK tour in 2001. So I got to work with him. I think that was the first time we actually acted together. We didn't work together at drama school because you were my senior. Yeah.
Tell us about that, Maja, that experience, your time at Area Youth.
Right, because you're one of the founding members from the 1997 beatification of Area Boy, and you were many years in.
Yeah, man, and I brought a lot of persons from Tivoli and Denham Town with me, because you know, long before social influencers and the social site, you know, we had the influencer back then, you know, based upon the positive works that we were doing, you know. I was the head boy for the school that I attended, definitely, you understand, and, you know, I was the Key Club president, so we had a lot of...
Not to lose a train of thought, you won a Key Club competition in about 98, 99?
Yes, that was in Florida.
Right.
You know, at the Fontainebleau Hotel. That is the only Caribbean person ever won that competition. So that was a major thing, you know, where we went back to the school now and the principal announced these things. You know, we have a great following. So if I saw Area Youth advertise on TV and I said I'm going there, then a lot of persons are going to trot with me. So that's how a lot of persons from the West Kingston went there in the group.
So you had major influence. Tell us the story behind Maja Bless. Where does it come from? Your name is Omaall, right?
All right. So I'll tell you this, and then I still want to tell you about Area Youth.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So Maja Bless. Maja comes from Maja Liwa, which means filled with God's grace, you know? Yes. So my mother wanted to name me Maja Liwa, but my father said it sounds too feminine. So it wasn't put on my birth paper. But, you know, my mother still want to have her way, so she continued to call me Maja. You understand?
And then what, you add the bless?
Well, I'm a person who always heal everybody by saying bless. So when somebody called to me, you know, like the mother said Maja, I would have said bless. You understand? So they started to call me back by saying Maja Bless. You understand? So it was them healing me back. And then I said, well, this sound good together, you know, Maja Bless, and bless actually means something positive, you know. So I say, all right, that's my name. Because first it was Bounty Ras. Yeah, what? No, me not big up to what you pour now. Yeah, you know. Bounty Ras, you know, because we just used to love Bounty Killer music, you know. Yeah. Since like a lungy music, we did have my tape deck, man, and we just listen, you know. Yeah, man. Till I actually met him. There was a stage show in Rima, Wilton Garden. And, you know, we go up on the stage and tell everybody that me a Bounty little brother. And, you know,
my God.
The place mash up, man.
So you came off the stage and what happened?
Yeah, man. So, Bounty, he sent for me. Sent somebody, Rima man at the time.
So you're never afraid?
Well, no. Because this was somebody who I saw on TV.
Yes.
And I remember I used to drive a Red Honda, you know, we see it on the TV. So me emulate and I say, you know, that's where I want to be, you know, man.
You're red pants today, red Honda.
The red pants, and, you know, I channel about the energy, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, man, so him sent for me, you know. I went there, and he must say, you're very good, you know. And he must say, he must send the man them for come and check me and thing, you know. Bring me around him. At them time, you know, no cell phone, no type of thing like that, you know.
Okay.
But where I was living at the time, there was a major war happening with Rima. because I was in Denham Town, and Denham Town had a major war with Rima, you understand? Denham Town was affiliated to Tivoli at the time, and Rima and Tivoli fell out. So even by me going there was like a big risk, you know, because nobody would walk from Denham Town to go to Rima. But that's what I tell you about loving the music and loving what you do. So I went there, and he did send the youth them for me, you know.
Yes.
But when he sent them for me, I had to hide, because then persons would say you're an informer.
Affiliated with.
Yeah, man, and you know, if them say, cause a bad boy I keep the stage show at the time.
Right, right.
You know, and if them see them bad boy, they come link me down in a Denham Town, then them are gonna say,
bring,
you understand? Yes.
Cross the border, bring information.
So
wow.
you know.
So you had to make a practical decision.
Practical decision.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, as I say, I respect him.
Yes.
Because there was a next time, you know, he was giving a speech somewhere, and I performed alongside Donald Brown, you know, and we had a group called AY2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, you guys came second or third one year with
in the festival. Yeah, man, definitely. So, you know, we were performing.
I said the fishes in the deep
blue sea. Hey, me I tell her historian, you know, man. She remembers all of these things.
I know.
Trust me, you know. So me and him performed there. And this is the next reason why I really respect Bounty. Bounty couldn't have remembered that I was a little boy. This is many, many years now, and I will grow up now, you know, thinking I'm early 20s and thing. And him said the same thing again, that I should come around him. You understand? Wow. So my sister, this is a person who goes around and try to help the youths.
Right.
You understand? So
he was
that
genuine in his encouragement.
Yeah, man, definitely. You know?
But you can see it in how many other artists he's given a jump start.
Definitely. Because I've gone around lots of other artists, and them don't extend that courtesy.
Yeah.
Even the night and the show, I was a little boy and mash up the place, you understand?
Yes.
And none of the other artists them try encourage me, you understand? It was just
and
this one person. So
Godzilla didn't feel
intimidated.
No, man. Wow. Extend, you know, and offer.
So let's go back to Era Youth now.
Youth.
You being an influencer,
yes,
you know, got a lot of other young people to come with you to be part of Wole Soyinka's Beatification Area Boy, which is the first production. And then what was the rest of the Era Youth journey for you?
All right, so we saw it on the TV. It advertised that I think there was an ad with Bello and Blacker. Yeah, the young one. So, you know, I said, this is something that I want to be a part of. So got my crew and we went out there and we auditioned. All of us got in. It was a phenomenal experience. And to learn about Wole Soyinka and to know his history and know his legacy, you know, we realized that we were in the presence of greatness. So we did that. And after that ended, the program should have ended. But because we met so many young people from all over, we continued to meet behind War Theatre around the back there, just as youth, you know, with none of the organizers of the company, just youth. Yeah, we continued to meet. Wow. Because what was so good, some of the persons who we were interacting with, you know, we couldn't normally interact with them because there were lots of wars happening in downtown at the time.
So you had your little piece.
Yeah, man. We started our own little piece before the wider community know anything about peace at the time. We, the youths.
Creative peace.
Yeah, man. We were living in peace, you know.
Creative peace.
And it was a rough journey, you know, because I must say,
creative peace.
Born out of a creative peace.
Definitely. I love that, you know. So we continue to meet around there. It was a rough journey still, because in the early days, you know, I used to get stoned going back from rehearsal. Because as I said, yeah, man, because you see, we are going to other communities which are at war with our community. And what the adults do, the children will do. So them are going to say, you know, them boy they're from Tivoli, them boy they're from Denham Town. So even though we might interact in this space. Yeah, but outside when we leave rehearsal now, you know, they run we down and them stone we. And some of these people became very great friends. Because as we said, after interacting for a while now, we didn't want to leave each other company. So we started to meet. And then, you know, that's how the organizers came back now and said, we are going to make this thing official into a youth group. And then the mission now is going to be about connecting the borders. which Era Youth did a phenomenal job of creating peace in many places in the inner city. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand and I know that it works.
Bridges everywhere.
Tell your man, you know?
Right. That's an excerpt from
one of their earliest songs that started to attract, I think, other people outside of those communities to want to be part of Era Youth. Because as I'm talking, I'm getting goosebumps because you started to get gigs and you'd be on TV.
Yes.
And I was like, isn't that a guy from Festival? Because that's where I know you from. But that song, Build Bridges Everywhere, I remember that before I even joined Era Youth. To be facing us in my heart.
Yes.
You know, so when you started getting this additional attention now, because you're winning competitions, yes, but there was a certain level of fame, dare I say, that Era Youth brought to you.
Yes, definitely.
You guys were also in cable and wireless commercial, the One Love Generation, a lot of other things.
Yes.
How did you handle this extra new level of fame, so to speak? Because you're a star from your band, we don't know that.
Definitely. And you know, maybe at the time, just like any youth, you know, all this attention drop down for you, maybe never see, you start, you know, be overhyped until, you know, you settle down again and realize what the mission is really about, you know? Yeah, man. So we go through them stages there too, where you feel like, you know, you're too big for things and, you know, and you are the thing, you know?
Yes.
Because we were the lead at the time, you understand? But after a time, man, you have to return to what you truly are.
Yeah.
And we just dash with the hype and just remember that this is the mission. Because as I said, you know, the works that they were doing, great works. We even went to, you know, England.
Yes.
You know, and we did more works like that. You know, went to Stonebridge.
Because it was performance and
social
workshop.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you've been touring from a longer time, Mr.
Longer time, not all the time.
At all that time. Yeah. You've been touring. Question. Are there any mentors in the creative space?
A whole lot, man. Whole lot. Well, firstly, I would say, you know, my mother, father, you understand? As I said, I get that creative side from them just by being in the house there. But going outside of that now, I would say like my English teachers who recognize a talent. Yeah, because that's how I get to be doing dub poetry, really. You know, wrote poems at school and then the teachers say, you know, this little boy write this poem and then they bring it to the principal and the principal say, whoa, you know. Then I remember them frame one of my poem, put it on the wall, you know, and that was a major feeling at the time, you know. For know how we write that and then put it on the 9th grade block, which I'm much younger than that at the time, man. You understand? So the English teachers first recognized that because I really had a love for English language and literature. It's just the most I guide my journey, you know, because none of this was planned, you know. I didn't know the route that I would go. So look at this now. The English teachers, they recognize the talent for writing. But one of the English teacher, her brother was the drama teacher. Yeah, man. So
Mr.
she took
Eslop?
me, Mr. Eslop.
Peter Eslop.
So he and his sister was Miss Pence, you know. So she took me to him to say that, you know, this boy, him can write. And then when them have any presentation, I try use my poetry, you know, man. And, you know, present and get good grades and good points in the class. So
that's funny you mentioned Peter Hislop because all three of us have a Hislop history.
Very, very great man. Very great man, you know. So she introduced me to him and he decided to enter me into the JCDC speech competition at the time. But I didn't enter an original poem. He wanted me to do an Honora poem, Reflections in Red.
That's
a poem, that, you know, I used to meet Sabrina at the time. So you see, everything connects and we're still here, you know? Yeah, man.
So other than your English teachers, Mr. Hislop, is there any other mentor, whether it's creatively or otherwise, that you believe had a significant impact on?
Whole lot. As I said, even Bounty. You know, even what Sizzler was doing at the time. You understand? Whole lot of persons, you know, when, you know, we are going through some rough times and, you know, we were being led astray. You know, even a lady who held on to my hand when I was walking behind some of the gangsters at the time. And she just hold on to me and she say, you too, That's all she said to me, you know. And that really changed me.
You connected with that.
Yeah, man. She
Was
just
the
said, you
U-turn
too.
hold on hand.
And when she let me go, all of a sudden, you know, it's just like my knees weak.
Wow.
And then I start look at the persons who me I walk back at.
It's almost like a outer body experience,
Yeah,
a
man.
projection.
Yeah, man.
You know, she stopped you in your tracks.
You know?
Wow.
Trust me. She was in a hairdressing parlor at the time and I was passing behind the gang and she just called me at the back and she said, you too, you know? And that made me want to change till I went to the leader and me I say, you know, this is not my life. I don't want to do this, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So that shows though that the little things that we do have the potential to have great impact.
Of course. So you see, that is why I make a conscious decision to smile. People see me smiling all the time. You know, some person will say, "I'm an idiot," this, that. No, for real.
It's true, because there are times we're aware after the fact that Omaall has gone through something very difficult. And I would have seen Omaall the day or two before, and there was no indications.
Yeah,
like,
man.
it's just love, you know.
Yes, true.
Always up and up, and always a word of encouragement, even when you are being like beaten down, and it's just a smile. I
Yeah,
don't
man,
know how you
'cause-
do it, Omaall.
Boy, as I say, it's a conscious decision because, you know, I know how it can impact persons. And you see, the way how we interact with somebody, you can make or break them there, you know. So that lady, you know, how she interacted with me, saved me. So me have to know that's part of my mission too. You know, when I interact with people, leave them with a good energy, leave them with a positive vibration, you know.
And your work does that. Very much so.
Definitely, you know.
What do you want to be remembered for? Because you said that's your mission. What is your mission, and what do you want to be remembered for?
Honestly, I don't even think about being remembered, you know. So we do so many things that we don't even try to highlight or to make people know we've been doing it, you know. You spoke about being the father of the Supertwinz and people see me and them up and down, but I've been doing this with other persons, you know, other persons' children many years ago, up and down, you know, spend my own money, bring them to JCDC, pay for them entries, drive them in a little car, you know, make them win awards, write for people, festival competition, festival queen competition, just give them poems, you know. So we've been doing these things.
And I think a couple of years ago, some of these things that you've been doing got awarded. One special play that I worked on when it was not even quite a play. It was more like a play.
Yes, but Sabrina was there too.
Someone else at the time.
Yeah, man.
We're talking about Belly Woman.
Belly Woman.
You know, and I don't remember. Tell us about the journey of that, because I remember coming to you and having done it twice, and I've won a number of awards the first time I did it.
You mean at the high school level?
At the high school level, yes.
Yeah, man.
And that play
at the school's drama festival.
And then that play went on to win many awards at the Actor Boy Awards for the 2018 season. But talk to us about the journey of Belly Woman. And just to give context,
yes,
Belly Woman is framed in the John Kuno motif.
Yes.
And did you tell the rest?
Yes.
All right. So you see, growing up in Denham Town again, so you see all of this is the influence, you know? So we have to know the root. You understand? So growing up in Denham Town, they used to have a Jankono band as a child. And I just used to love it. You know, even
you never run from it?
Yeah, I used to run, but still love it.
You just love run from it.
Of course, we go on roller coasters. It terrifies you, but you still want to go back.
Yeah,
you understand? So, yeah. So I just love, you know, how them interact and them try frighten away and things. But, you know, as I say, I'm a person who love the arts. So even when they are not performing, they may start go to the yard and, you know, see people behind the mask as a little youth, and they overstand, you know? So it became something that I didn't fear anymore. So growing up now, that band didn't exist anymore. And I didn't see Jankono anymore. And we had a longing for that, you know? And when I tell people about Jankono, a lot of persons, the youth, them grow, them don't know what Jankono was. So at Edna now, we were going there, drama school. And I think Mr. Eugene Williams, gave us an assignment to do that it should include some cultural form in the writing. I think that's when I first started to write Belly Woman. And I decided to use Jankono as my cultural form because I said, this is part of preserving the history, you know, preserving the legacy of Jankono. So that is why I included all the Jankono characters in Belly Woman. So it was left at just a one act, you know, and that's the
version,
that we did.
yes.
You know, and that version won lots of awards, same way persons took it and they went to school drama festival, as I said. Talawa up by Wight won many awards. It was a major thing when they entered it up there at that time.
And I'm what are you feeling as you're seeing the thing that you've created start to get a whole life of its own? What was
outside of you?
Yeah, man, the feeling was so awesome, you know. The feeling started from the literary stage, because I entered the JCDC literary competition, you know,
okay.
and won Best Junior Playwright and next award there, you know. Yeah, man, and then they asked me to perform like an excerpt of the poem. So that's when I saw it on stage, you know, because I used some of my students at the time, and I think you had loaned me a student.
I had some of them. I could just pick them out and give you one.
So, you know, we did some form of collaboration with my students at TG, and you had loaned me a student, you know. I performed it for JCDC, so that was the first time I could see it alive on stage and know that this thing is very worthwhile and persons believe in the works, you know. So after that, now to see people take it and put life to it, and every step is like a different presentation, you know, because each person put their own spin on it when they direct it. So each time, you know, I mean, to see
it's interpreted,
life,
man. And you extended it, collaborating with Dorian Reid to make it a full length. And at one Best Director and a whole bunch of other awards. What was that feeling like for you that night, hearing Belly Woman, multiple times.
You know, giving birth to all these awards.
Man, trust me, the feeling amazing. You know, I had already been trying to extend it to the full length, because by now, you know, I totally believe in this. And I wanted to make a film. So I remember speaking to Mr. Williams, Mr. Eugene again, before even our collaboration with Dorian. You know, so I was writing the full length thing because I wanted to do a film. You know, I think that's one of the ways I could preserve this work of art, you know. But Mr. Williams at the time was saying, don't make it into a film. He was saying that film will water down the art and stuff. So, you know, I killed that idea at the time, but I continued to write. And then when Dorian expressed that she wanted to do one of my works, you know, I knew that this was the one.
So it was ready.
Yeah, man.
So you've been working on it.
I saw the production and I felt how different it was. But in that full-length play, so many different stories, so many behind the scenes with these characters. And I thought, wow.
Yeah, it had a lot of layers.
Yeah, man. Layers on top of layers, man. It was...
I love history, you know.
Yeah, wow.
So if you notice Belly Woman, we're telling the story of Three Finger Jack. It's telling the story of Lover's Leap. You know, I tried to show you the journey of the Belly Woman, you know, Jack in the Green, Mother Lungi, Pitchy Patchy, you know, all of them. So,
wow. So you've written poetry, you've written this full-length play, you've written songs.
We'll get to you, part 1, 2, 3, and other films that you've done.
Yeah, man. Even before, from Era Youth days, you know, we helped with the writing A Road to Damascus. You know, that was a film on HIV, AIDS, and that was inspired by my interaction with someone at the time who contracted the disease. And then when Era Youth, because they did a lot of social work, so they went down to the AIDS hospice, and I used to go there with them, and I met the person, but I didn't realize it was the person, because at the time, you know, people used to deteriorate really fast, you know. But by speaking to the person, you know, I decided to tell a part of that person's story that the person had passed on, you know. So we've been doing...
You've been doing... What are you doing now? What's your most current body of work outside of the Supertwinz?
Well, so many things. I'm writing plays same way, you know, writing lots of songs. We recorded songs day before yesterday.
And you had a Father's tribute recently.
Definitely. That's on Maja Bless Vivo. You can check it out.
Where is it? Where can we see it?
Maja Bless Vivo channel.
That's
so I have a Vivo channel.
MAJAH BLESS on Vivo.
Yes, definitely. So that is there. And we have 2 music videos that haven't been released as yet, you know?
So you're always creating work.
Yeah, man, just creating. Because it's not even
honestly,
about the fortune or fame. It's just something that I love to do.
It's
So if
oozing
I'm
out
not
of you.
doing it,
Yes.
you know, I'm not feeling well.
So when you sleep?
Trust me. You know, sometimes I think I'm like, you know, when you watch Superman, you see Clark Kent.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I literally the life the way I live.
You're the artistic Clark Kent.
Yeah, man, because I
Superman,
might
yes.
be at school, you know, where I teach, we in a one persona.
And then you
But
drive
then me have
out.
a little performance, and me have to run and chew on something in my car, you know, like how Superman transform, you know. And mash up the
That's something you should
performance.
write though.
Of course,
Yeah,
you know.
You should have an artistic
Superman,
superhero.
yeah,
who's
man.
A teacher by day,
Hey.
Yeah, probably by night or
touching lives with
afternoon.
his words.
Sabi, I forgot collab with me on that, man. No,
I'm
seriously,
ready,
because
ready. And it's changing them
always
car because in my other life, I transform my car every day too.
see it there.
You know,
See it there.
putting our makeup and go doing one
Yeah.
thing and then going back to do something else. you
It
know.
also reminds us of early I Am. When
God,
it was
the
really,
Yes, yes,
you know,
yes.
really a Sabrina and Damian kind of movement where we're driving down to Manchester in a very long lunch break.
It was in Manchester for that one, though.
Well-
But I can remember vividly a gig that I had where I don't remember what it was, but it was, I think, Jamaica House. All of us were at work
Yes.
at different places. And they scheduled us for like a 10:30 performance. And 11 something, we were looking at our watch because
Yeah,
we
man.
don't want to be fired.
Yeah.
And we're going to perform and applause and they want
Yeah,
to take
man.
picture. But we need to get back to the people that work at wherever we are worked.
man.
Yeah. It
That's
was-
how it
Later
goes,
on, we
man.
made the news.
yes.
But that's
Just
great.
yeah, as I was saying, you know, may I look forward to that, some form of collaboration, because Sabrina is somebody who I always want to collaborate with, you know, with the writing. So that's
And that's
something that we should
interesting.
look at
Yeah.
and have Damien direct the thing.
No, I mean, you want to direct. I mean, I will direct any day with you.
right,
But
lovely.
I must tell you that I too flirt with the idea of writing. And whenever I think I can't move beyond myself or Sabrina is unavailable, even when she's not unavailable, I think of writing with you. There's a project that I have said that we should have done, which is a children's project called Mayhem, the Orderly Place. You know, and we've plotted that out. So I think we need to finish that. You know, and worse, we have Supertwinz now.
Yeah, man, definitely.
You know what I mean?
And we have spoken
Yeah.
about doing...
Tell us
Yes.
about Supertwinz. You are. I'm going to use father of many.
Yes.
Both some yours and some, you know,
Yeah,
the
man,
father of
definitely,
nation.
all of us, Dan.
What is it like being that father? And these twins are amazing.
Yes.
And how is that now? Is it like full circle somewhat, where you were 3
Yes.
and you had the support of your parents, you know,
Was your
propping
auntie
you up
that put you on the box or what was it?
No, it was my father.
It's the father.
Propping you up, thank you.
Because he's bridging at the sound system
Okay.
next door.
propping you up, and here you are many years later
Yeah.
with not just one but 2
Yes.
Omaall Jr.
Yes.
And what is that like being in their shadow?
All right. Yeah, shadow, for real. Firstly, you know, I love how you mentioned full circle.
Yes.
I see that you speak on shadow. Then goes, he would agree with you, you know, because she's thinking that she's the major star, you know. But I love when we meet
surprised.
people from, you know, my past.
Yes.
And then them can humble her and tell her, say, your father was a star, you know. Yeah, but in them time, they know a lot of things. You know, we never have social media.
YouTube.
Yes.
Of course. So we never even have YouTube. So certain things wasn't captured. So she thinks she do it now. But
Yes.
everything that she was doing, I was doing back then, you know, because as a little youth, we're a major star in the community, you know, man.
Yes.
You know, major little DJ, you understand? We used to DJ with an artist called Big Star. And there was an ex-artist called Righteous. And we have Brandish. Those are community DJs. So I was the youngest. And wherever stage show was, you know, they would take me along. Because Big Star, he was in a relationship with my auntie. They are married now.
Yes.
And he was like
So
the
man, no
major.
bigger star.
Yeah, man. You see, married to the Star family. You understand?
Really?
Yeah, so, you know, he was a major DJ in the community at the time. So to have him around was a great influence as well. And to learn how to ride even the rhythms too, you know, because him a practice I'm there too, and we learn how to ride with him and go out on stage show and go on sound system. So as the young youth, I was like a major thing in the community. And whenever he goes, he meet anybody from school, they go tell you, say, your father, he was the one, back in school days. So it's full circle to see them doing it, Ngozi, she was the one who really started the Supertwinz movement,
Okay.
Her grandmother had a plaque on the wall with a prayer, and her grandmother used to teach her the words to the prayer. So at 2 years old, she would recite the words of the prayer. And then it was her mother who said to me that, when Ngozi said the prayer, because she could speak very clearly for a 2-year-old, And her mother was saying to me that it sounds like poetry, when she said the prayer. And then Bigfoot, the snack, it was her favorite snack at the time. Bigfoot had a little poem on the bag, and she learned that poem too. And when she performed that, yeah, man, I said, this
Powered
little
by
girl,
Bigfoot.
of course, yeah, she born with a light,
Yeah.
This princess here, she have something.
Maybe she's the Maja Liwa.
Definitely,
Yes,
filled with God's grace,
Yes,
Yeah, man. And her name means blessing, Ngozi.
Yeah.
Yes.
It means blessing. So, her mother asked me to write her a poem. And that's how we wrote the A Big Man poem for her at that time, So from 2-year-old, she was performing that poem, basic school and everywhere. And,
Yes.
she wasn't shy at all.
Tafari, yes.
It came a little bit later.
Yes.
Because I used to try put him on stage with her, but he didn't want to go. He would actually cry. That him don't want to do it, him don't want to go on stage. But I remember his calling came, we were at Edna. I had a show there. And wherever I go, I try to bring Ngozi so people can know her, Yes. I had a show by King's House recently, and I brought her there so they can know her. So the Governor General saw her,
Right.
Marcus Garvey's son saw her, so people will know her. So it's the same thing. So I brought her there and she was on stage performing with me. And Tafari was in the audience because he would have heard us rehearsing. And him in the audience, I create him own show. Yeah, man, loud to because he want everybody to see him. You understand? And then at Edna, him saying, he want to come up on the stage too. I started crying to be up on the stage. So that is how we started to put Taf up on the stage. That is when his calling came. And both of them together now make the Supertwinz.
That's
right.
I remember booking them for a scholarship awards event 4 years ago. And they were the headline story the next day.
Yeah.
They performed, of course, one of the works that what I think I love about it. I said to Omaall, the theme is X. And Maja go, all right, remix, rewind, edit.
Yes.
He's such an amazing tailor.
Yes, he's a good tailor.
Definitely. To fit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I want to find out, as we get closer to the end of this conversation, what inspires you?
Life inspires me, The most inspires me because everything I'm doing, I think it's been guided by the Most High. That is why I started out by telling you how I went there and then Bounty and, how I met you and Era Youth and all of that. Nothing was planned and we're here right now in this space. But it's like it is the Most High guiding the process. And that's how I went to drama school. I tell you about the English teacher, who linked me to her brother who is a drama teacher. By the time I was leaving high school, we got through a whole lot of things. My father gets shut up, whether I live nowhere, unsure the future holds. But everybody I say, you have the talent, for the drama. Why you don't go and audition up at Edna? And so first me I hear about Edna. So I like me plan for go Edna and become a dramatist. You understand? It was just the most I tell, the angels and earth to say, this is the way you're going on, then I listen to him and just follow the movements, So nothing that I'm doing, it's no plan, but I just
But it's the path is set for you, yes.
It's set for me, man.
Yes.
So we just tried it,
Yes. There's another moment in The Shadows, which is the Supertwinz in House of Parliament.
Yes.
What was that like for you, Maja? Your reaction to them?
Yeah, man. So, Ngozi always says she wanted to be the female governor general, the first female governor
general. She might be the female president.
Definitely, because we know Biden. You understand? So, it was the same. You see, when I tell you about the journey, I know the most I guide things because it was me writing the A Big Man poem and it was her grandmother teaching her,
The poem, the prayer.
Yeah, the prayer. And then was her mother asking me to write her a poem, which led to us meeting Empress now, you know, from Talk Up Youth.
Yes.
So she was performing the Big Man poem so much that Empress saw her, and Empress had a thing with UNICEF that she was going on the road with, and she wanted Ngozi to be there as a performer on this road tour, you understand? So we met Empress through that. I knew Empress before, but with Ngozi, this was through the A Big Man poem. And Empress had the opportunity now with UNICEF to bring some children into Parliament. And, you know, with Ngozi being there, she was one of them. So that's how she became, you know, the first to go and speak in the Parliament, the youngest to address anyone in the Parliament, you know. Great feeling, because a child shall lead them, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
and this is how I want you to lead us out. Which I'm gonna put you on the spot, and this is which is curtain call.
Yeah,
that is your cue. That is your stimulant. Create something with curtain call, and that's your camera, so you can just.
All right. Real people, the real things. Real curtain call from floor to ceiling. Ay, real people, the real things. Sabrina the queen, then Damien the king. This is Maja Bless, live on curtain call. And if this is the program you don't know, it's a certain fall. Yeah, man.
What tell you, the on-spot
yeah,
is
man,
just
live and direct, you know?
Oh, Maja.
Yes, I.
Oh, man, the continuation of the collaboration will happen. We have just scratched the surface.
We need like a whole other hour.
Yeah, man.
Just tell your
Oh
story.
And as I said, you know, who better to tell the story than you? You understand? You are some of the persons who I've known for the longest in my life, you know? Sabrina especially, you know? I can't even think on anybody else who would have known the journey like how Sabrina know the journey, you know? So that is why both of you hold a special place in our heart. Yeah, see that, you know that, you know? Yeah, man, is it?
Speaking of special place, we do have a special surprise for you. And then we're going to magically, it's going to appear. 1, 2, 3. Look at me.
All right, so Omaall,
yes.
You long ago inspired me to write. Took me a little bit longer than you to publish, but I'd like to give you a signed copy of my most recent book, I'm Not Afraid of Me Anymore.
Thank you very,
I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, man, definitely, because a full joy, the last one.
Oh, breathing space.
Yeah, man, so this is amazing. And this one much thicker than the last one,
yes.
too. So we see.
Yes, the other one is more fiction, and this one is really to inspire, you know, that mission of planting seeds backward, you know?
Yeah, man, surely looking forward to reading this, because I saw some stuff on Facebook, and, you know, to be getting my own personal signed copy. Just me, surely. Honor, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, man, keep up the greatness, because I know what you guys can do and what you guys have been doing. A lot of persons out there don't know, but we need a curtain call with both of you, so you can share some of the experiences, you know?
Maybe you'll be the interviewer then.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah.
You know? I would
Major
love that.
interview.
Would love that.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But you have to do it with Abiyomi, because he's insisting.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
I would have loved that. You know? Ancient future.
Yes.
Yeah.
100.
Wow.
All right. So thank you for being with us. It's been our extreme and esteemed pleasure to have you here. And
we're
brethren,
Definitely.
family.
good smarty.
Yeah. The most optimistic man I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we win the Optimus Club competition, man.
Yeah, I didn't touch on that. You won our Turkle Award back in the 90s.
For real. Yeah.
Look here, as we say.
So many layers. But, you know, this is what we do on Curtain Call. We roll the curtain and we show the spotlight on our guests for them to tell their story of their creative journey. So join us next time on Curtain Call.
Yes.
Where we will have another conversation, shining the spotlight on more creatives. Yeah, man, we're going good. We're going good.
Headphone.
Are you comfortable with your questions so far?
Yes, man. I mean, there's nobody better else to interview me.
I said to myself, this interview is going to feel so much like a normal conversation. Oh, we are.
No, a real thing, man. There's nobody else, man.